I want to tell you one of the oldest stories in the old sales book. And it relates back to a sales conference held lots of years ago. And the sales director turns up for a big presentation to the sales team. And all they have on the stage is a big glass jar sitting on a table with a couple of buckets underneath it. The question goes out to the group. The sales director says, you know what, if I could put 5 big rocks in this jar, would it be full? So let me do that while I get you to ponder that question. And so there are the 5 big rocks. And is the jar full? Well, some people say, yeah, it's full. A lot of people in the group say, no, it's not full. You could fit something like gravel in there. So the boss says, absolutely. And from under the table grabs a bucket full of gravel. So let's go put the gravel in there in the spaces between the big rocks. And so the sales director repeats the question, is the jar full? And the audience, of course, is cottoning on now and says, no way it's full. You could fit something between the big rocks and the gravel. And of course, that something could be sand. So from underneath the table, sales director picks up a bucket of sand and starts tipping it in. Let me do that for you right now. Then for one last time, sales director says, is the jar full? No one's saying it's full now. And then someone from the back of the audience says, you know what? If you had a bucket of water, you could tip that in and fill all the space between the big rocks, the gravel, and the sand. So let me do that for you. And at this point, of course, there's no argument that the jar is full, which of course brought the sales director to the moral of the story. And what she said was, there will always be room for gravel, sand, and water. But you know what you've got to do? You've got to get your big rocks in first. So, big rocks, gravel, sand, water, what do they represent? Well, quickly, a big rock is something that's super important to you. Something in your working day that you think is of paramount importance. Typically something long-term, something strategic, something of really long-term value. It's probably super important, not necessarily urgent. It's something you really want to get done. And the gravel, the sand, and the water is all that other stuff that seems to get in the way. We're going to talk more about this in a little while, about identifying what your big rocks are so that you can get them having their own space inside your jar.